In this episode, I'll show you the whole journey of survival. Alone on an island of ice and snow. It starts with winter without food and water. Even clothes. They had to finish building the ice shelter. Price and still have to face the beast. AI that survives to the end will win the $500,000 prize. That's about 14 billion Vietnamese dollars. This year's challenge is the Rocky Mountains, Montana, where the winters are harsh, with temperatures down to -10 degrees. Just over 3 hours of exposure could die of hypothermia. To avoid being eliminated in the first place, the program divides 12 players into 4 teams. The first team included Jack, Wasp, and Sarah. 2 men and women working together will not be too tired. After they met, they hugged each other. He was experienced in snow. They say the scariest thing is not ice or low temperature. It's the bone-chilling wind. The second team in the deer pasture consists of cheese veterans, Rose and Jeremy. The third team at the top of the mountain with Gabi, G and key to female a male. The last team in the middle of the mountain, where there are wolves. Another strong girl is SA Armor. After the teams are in place, they took off their clothes and started preparing their survival gear. And the temperature map isn't just 2 degrees Celsius, but because of the wind, it feels like only 3 degrees. It's vital to find shelter quickly, because if it's too late, it can become a frozen mummy. Team 4 had a hard time because the wind was too strong. They have to stand around to open the map. The first team has already started. Sarah was shivering with cold feet and her shoes wouldn't stop shaking. Team 4 just walked a little and couldn't stand it. Jeremy offered to take shelter behind the big rock, where Sarah found some dry wood that could be used to start a fire. But behind the rock it's not warm enough. They keep opening up the map, looking for directions. Now they have a way of running. Don't stop too long and start quickly. If we don't get to the shelter before dark, they will almost have to flee immediately. The second team is crossing a thorny area. It's really difficult for them. In addition to enduring the cold under your feet, they're often stabbed by thorns. One even injured his leg. And to get out of this area, they have to run fast. 2 hours later, the fourth team arrived at the first valley. The good news is there's no wind, and the sun's rays make things a lot more pleasant than they were before. Even more excited to see the shelter right in front of you. This shelter is provided by the program, in case the contestants don't have time to build a shelter and eliminated from the beginning. There are some animals to use, along with ignition rods and water cookware. Without hesitation, Sarah quickly chopped up the animal with a knife. Each person gets a matching shirt. It's not enough to cover your legs and buttocks, but their condition was much better compared to before. Next, they need to find materials to fill the holes in the shelter and finish the preparation before dark. Avoid freezing on the first night. Meanwhile, the second team has just divided the animals. However, due to a long walk in the snow, Jeremy's leg has moved. Blue-purple in extremely low temperature conditions. Freezing can happen in just a few minutes. It causes skin cells to die. If this condition persists, the damaged part of the body may need to be removed. To keep Jeremy's foot, 2 companions constantly massage to help you. The situation is a little better. The first team is moving the fastest. Jack and Wasp go out to find ingredients to repair the shelter, while Sarah takes care of her activities. But starting a fire is not easy in the wet winter in the mountains. After many attempts, Sarah finally started the fire. Jack and Waz keep working hard to close the gaps before it gets dark. There was a helicopter. Sometimes there's a dog barking. And then there's the sound of an ambulance. The contestants are worried. I don't know what's going on. Morning of the 13th day. The delegation made the program to the place of competition. And then the contestants figure out what happened. Last night, a grizzly bear attacked a man, causing the victim to die. Third team after the equipment division is completed. Rescuers found the body this morning. The purpose of the program is to inform the contestants that some bears are waking up from hibernation. And now they're not too vigilant. But it might surprise the contestants. They remind people to be safe and decided to organize an evacuation in the next few days. It's the hardest thing more about economical because there are 2 women on the team. Defense is SAO. To connect them firmly. Gabi with rich outdoor survival experience. He came up with a solution. Natural glue from the branches of tung snow tree. Mix some wood charcoal and heat it, which creates a very strong, sticky plastic. Get your hands to work immediately. Cooking in a pot. Wait for the plastic to melt and mix it with wood charcoal. In addition to making clothes for everyone, then use a fixed lanyard to create a powerful self-defense weapon. After Group 4 ate the rabbit, German and Sarah decided to go hunting. And not long after, they found a rose bush. They originally intended to collect 11 when Sarah picked some nutritional supplements, she discovered gray hair and associated with maybe a grizzly bear sign. They've got enough material to make more shoes. After hearing the announcement from the production team, they both got scared and decided to rush back to camp to ensure safety, while West stays at camp checking traps. And suddenly I found out I'd caught a lobster. He was very excited and prepared a meal with lobster. Weak health condition, and not enough strength to resist the dangers. After 13 days, next, the whole team focused. They can only eat 1 small fish. As they continue to fish, they spotted a beaver near the trap. But when I checked the empty trap, make them keep trying again. After Sarah was taken away, there were only 2 men left. The threat of a bear. They keep hunting. Close to the trap last time. From a distance they saw the trap hit. Looking for materials to perfect the shelter. This time it didn't make them 7. The mouse was crushed to pieces. Even if the mouse is not big, but enough to fill their teeth. However, the wasp says eating rats so we suggested using not mice as bait to catch lobsters. The 2 quickly reached the river. Take a basket of fish and tie a mouse in it. Then continue hunting. Meanwhile, Gabi spotted some footprints near the camp. But the next thing they do is they use themselves. Behind the hill. Animal carcasses are everywhere. It looks like a small area of carnage. And it's not just one animal. But there's also antelope, wolves and deer. The 2 men are no longer calm. Decided to go back to camp and hide out. Group 2 was fishing on the shore. Through observation they realized that it's a trace stream half a day and still no fish bite. Just as they were about to pack up and go back to camp, the fishing line is starting to move. It's a much bigger fish than last time. A person sprays a breath on the fish. Then prepare to make a grill. A piece of grilled fish, a lump of snow. Even if it's a fairy, it doesn't change. To eat and drink. They went to check the oyster trap again. Of a lion hunting. Group 2 struggled for days. But now both sides are equally talented. Group 1 back to camp. Jack's toes started to swell again. Look at the current situation. Before leaving, there were no signs of improvement. Today is medical exam day again. Jack was worried about seeing the doctor. I'm afraid I'll be taken away for my toes. The doctor saw the wound. They even found bones nearby. I also realized that the situation is very serious. Said it's been much better these past few days. There are signs of recovery. Jack believes that. The doctor decided to check again tomorrow, and we'll decide if we need to take Jack. After the doctor left so Jack could get enough rest, I was going to check the shrimp traps myself. There's a lot of predators around the area, thanks to the mouse as bait. The fish this time finally had a harvest. It's still some little lobster, served with wolf bone broth cooking flavor. Not lost to Group 4. On the night of the 13th, the wind was unprecedented. causing temperatures to drop to the lowest in history. The teams are trying
because
to
they
endure.
ended up
$500,000
In
away.
addition to fighting the cold.
One more step. Finally, on the 14th day, Chris woke up early. But you could say
Because
you've been
today
up
is
all
the day
night.
of retreat.
The two girls of the bug group also got up early.
There's
to
only one
prepare.
group.
Still have to go through one more test.
The doctor examined the wound and asked.
Jack said no pain. When you see the challenge is coming to an end, dealing with wild animals has become a top priority. The doctor didn't make it hard for Jack anymore. Jack was finally given permission to retreat. But can you get to the point of retreat on your own? Or no longer have to see
Group
Jack's
4
ability
is the
and
only
will
full-member team.
Prepared very carefully before leaving.
Put out the
campfire and start your journey. They're going to start from the highlands
Through the rugged
at 6,000
mountains.
feet. And across the lion's territory. Back to the fourth team. Mountains and deer. You can also meet cows on the road. The forest weighs up to 2,000 pounds. And eventually it's going to the high valley. 1,800 feet
Get the
to
map.
complete the
Check the
challenge.
route.
Two needs to climb the steep mountain. The team needs to cross a high mountain. While the first team had to cross a cold river. Group 4 faced a wide forest. Wasp and Jeremy. In general, the level of difficulty of the teams is quite similar. Two of the first team go first. Moving on the cold snow, Jack's legs were getting worse. They quickly came to a river. After testing the stone to determine the way
the river
to kill.
first.
I can't believe my foot almost fell into the river. Although not seriously injured, but your shoes are wet. Only found pine branches to fill the holes. Cross the river. Kill support so everything is more convenient. Just go to the exit point and the challenge will work. Group 4 encounters a river. And there's a dry wood on the bank. One goes to test first to test the durability. Group of people crossing the river smoothly. The two girls have bad luck. I just got out of the house and had to climb the mountain. On the way there are traces of bears. But pine branches don't keep warm very well. I felt the danger the night before. Two people move very carefully, afraid of sudden attack. Group 2 has the least amount of
Gabby
food,
was
so doesn't
tired
get
after
very far.
crossing
a river. They're faced with a steep view of cheese. She's almost paralyzed. She can only use her hands and feet. They all face dangerous situations on the road. People persist. The temperature has dropped below
At about
1:00
Group 4
p.m. and Group 2 arrived at the exit point first. I see the players are tired. The hard work. Only the experienced AI can understand. Everyone hugged each other in tears. Then the first team and the third team also arrived at the exit to each other and immediately find a car. 2 hours later, they finally found the car. I can't believe the hardest challenge this time. Only after a while of operation. There were many who persisted until the last minute. The organizers said that the ultimate glory belongs to everyone. They're the most consistent people in history. The program, even when faced with the environment. They're not afraid. He did not give up and persisted to the end. Thank you for your interest. See you in the next episode. Both feel like they've lost sensation in their toes. Cold. It's much scarier than we imagine, because it can cause loss of consciousness and organ failure if you can't restore your body temperature. While the second team learned animals are not enough. But they're still trying to make shoes for everyone. They keep looking for materials. However, because the material is on the road accidentally fell, they decided to switch to snow. To resist the wind. The third team is close to completing the shelter, with the tree's branches folded up. If they start a fire, they'll lead the other after the break. Keep working to close the holes. I hope it's done before dark. Jeremy's leg is behind schedule for the second team. I quickly came back to help. Pushing the branches down from the top, Kais and Jeremy transport them back with new shoes. The job is much more convenient, but their team is still the slowest. It's getting dark. The first team paused and came back, gathered by the fire. Kill now. I found out that my leg was badly damaged by the cold day. When it starts to warm up, the darkness is really clear. The teams are still fighting. With extreme weather, the temperature is getting lower and lower. Don't even think about it. It's going to be a rough night. They got through the first night. The next focus is to continue improving the shelter. I didn't sleep well last night. Sarah has puffy eyes like a panda. And the wound on Jack's foot started to scab. As long as there is no infection, there is no major problem. The second group has the slowest progress. The windshield is almost ineffective. Early morning Rose went out to get snow, but we didn't make it to the shelter. Then it started to rain. A lightning strike for this group. Progress has been slow. Now it's raining. Team spirit suffered a huge shock. The third group slept the best, not just because of the fast pace, but also thanks to mountain-based shelters. It's a natural wind barrier. In the morning, I noticed the weather was bad. The thick black clouds are coming to deal with the coming heavy rain. They quickly collected 10 materials to patch the roof. Shelter in the meantime. The fourth group began to snow. They're outdoors collecting wood. The first person to have a problem was Jerome. He can't seem to keep his body warm. Washington asked straight if he couldn't keep warm. Are you going to give up? Jerome was not afraid to say yes. It makes Washington very worried. In this case, if you lose a member, the other two will not be able to continue. After drinking 2 pots of hot water, German's body gradually stabilized back into the third group. They've covered the shelter with 2 layers of tree branches. But there's still some wind inside. He was the only healthy person in the group. He's constantly collecting 10 materials. But the human body isn't made of iron. After more than 30 hours without eating continuously, in cold weather, you start to get dizzy. Maybe it's hypoglycemia. When you see that, remind yourself to rest. But when we get back to the shelter, your condition is not improving. Even nausea can be caused by dehydration. Cold and dry air, the sweat evaporates immediately, lead to dehydration without even knowing it. If the strongest person falls, the third group that's leading the way will also collapse. Meanwhile, then the second group situation is quite delicate too. 1 person working, 2 people watching. Then they were afraid to call Rose to rest. But Rose didn't seem to continue sit still. To collect Finally, 10 shelter reinforcement materials. Rose returned to the shelter to warm up. Now he's not too worried about the temperature. I'm just afraid of yesterday's fall causing problems. He seems to have suffered a back injury. If the injury becomes severe, it's going to be hard to get to the end. What makes 12 naked in the middle of the wilderness? In an environment below 0 degrees Celsius, they live in the worst shelters. Dare to face with the most extreme conditions on Earth, without food, drinking water, or even clothes. You just have to persevere to the end. Finally, they'll win a $500,000 prize from the organizers. The contest the temperature has dropped to -9 degrees. Early morning key of the group. 2 smelled a strange smell. It's not the smell of mountain goats or deer. It's got a slight musk smell. Gabi heard that and searched. And finally found a pile of shit. Remember that it was the bear. In the Rocky Mountains of Montana, grizzly bear and black bear. They usually wake up temporarily in the winter. They went a little further, the 2 girls, and they found a series of footprints. Because it's about a minute from here to camp, it's very likely that they will face the bear directly. So they decided to make a spear and always carry to the body room. The first group is still snowing right now. Sarah says even sleeping between people, but still can't keep warm. Mainly due to shelter, there are many gaps. And the heat from the fire doesn't last very long. After waking up, people decided to build a using firewall. Stones to form a semicircle. Let the heat from the fire reflect back to the sleeping area. However, I think it's still more effective to close the gaps. Camera switch to group 2. Their progress is slowest. The shelter is not finished. But it's more serious than Roy's back injury. After a night of rest, the wound not only doesn't heal, it hurts. So Jeremy's taking over all the work today. Take your bow to the river, in the hope of catching beavers, to improve the meal. I waited patiently in the stream for a long time. I finally heard a small noise and spotted a beaver. Jeremy fast ocean bow shoot. Unfortunately, it didn't hit. While in the west group of 4 older people, weak health and German, people who are not used to cold conditions, can't do much. Most of the time in the shelter, their cold symptoms have not fully subsided. When they go out to get wood, they get so cold they can't breathe. At extremely low temperatures, blood vessels constrict. The blood is concentrated in the organs, reduces circulation to the hands and feet and cause frequent urination. It causes the body to lose water without realizing it. By evening, the wasp began to vomit. Clearly, weak health should not participate. Challenges, even young people, are hard to overcome. After a hard night, morning and group 4. There is only 1 old man and 1 injured. Force the only girl to be in charge. It is remarkable that the organizers were wise. Choose a healthy girl from the beginning. When Sarah Ra took the water, she found a lot of algae, type VI organisms, and it can that live off scavenging when it gets into the body. She had to go further to a small stream to get boil water. A large pot. After drinking boiling water, the nausea was reduced. Back to the first group. The firewall is not big. It's enough to make shelter warmer. At least they're not shivering in the house. Kill the intended improvement. Bed, because lying on the ground reduces the effectiveness of keeping warm. After finishing the morning work, 2 men are out hunting for more food. Meanwhile, Sarah and Wes stay at camp to upgrade the bed. They found a lot of reeds that flowed down into the ground and prevent moisture. After finishing work in the afternoon, 2 boys carrying tools go out hunting. Camera switch to team 2. Jeremy. Not happy that I couldn't hunt beavers in the morning. Go back to your old place this harsh and try your luck. The best strategy is to stay instead in one of going place. Around. Because it's going to get colder and colder. You can only go out for a maximum of 2 hours at a time. I'm lucky to be back in the shelter today. Chris and their team have already started a fire and have hot water. About the Bud team, I didn't see bear dung or SAO this morning. So now everyone's out fully armed. Bring any tools you can. However, the most dangerous member of Team Ba right now is Joe. He seems to have been ill since yesterday. And today it doesn't stop coughing. Chest muscles are always tight. The other members are worried. The only man on the team in such a state. But Joe didn't want to just sit in the shelter, because this has to do with winning awards. $500,000 while looking for wood. Joe accidentally spotted rabbit and footprints. Team up on the trail. I quickly discovered a rabbit sitting there by the tree. Unfortunately, the only bow is in the sky, so Joe can only try a rock attack. He prepared a stoning position, but the rabbit quickly ran away. Missed the chance to have the only food in the last 2 days. Joe felt very hopeful. The discovery of rabbit tracks brings hope here. There will be opportunities to find food in the future. Back to Team 2. Jeremy, after a 2-hour break, back to the river. Keep waiting. But unfortunately, there was no movement. Then I saw some
no
signs
body
of a
was
cat
found
near it. Constantly missing food plus a wound in the back made Jeremy feeling a headache in this harsh weather. If you have a fever, it's dangerous. Even though I tried to endure, your condition is not improving. It's even weak enough to stand unsteady, so the cameraman couldn't go on to ignore. I asked if you wanted to call the medical team. Jeremy immediately refused, crying and saying I don't want to go home. The medical team was finally called in to check. Luckily, Jeremy just had hypoglycemia and dehydration. The doctor reminded him to replenish water and food. Sit down to avoid falling. Team 1. The 2 men on the hunt have yet to harvest anything. They found a rabbit. Carried a rubber gun. I was using a bow and arrow. They both attack from both sides at the same time. However, the rabbit quickly escaped. Not long after, they found some wild fruit. Killed the taste and noticed that the taste was not very good. But wild berries still provide some nutrients. So they decided to collect 10. Sarah, who stayed at the camp, is sick of a new mattress. When the 2 men returned, they were delighted. It feels like the first team has an advantage when there's no sick or weak AI to have a warm and comfortable shelter. This advantage seems little by little is helping them get closer. Win $500,000. Game time is now on Wednesday. In Team 3, Joe's condition is getting worse. He didn't just have a runny nose. It's shaking endlessly. Gabi quickly asked him to rest and give it to you and Key to find food. 2 girls take advantage of the sun to go out hunting and quickly spotted a green patch by the stream. This is not good, but can still be eaten, so they collected 11 less to reserve. But when you're going to continue hunting, the wind suddenly intensified and forced them to return to camp. When you get home, they discovered Joe's sweating and can't wake up. This is no longer a joke. Gabi quickly checked the pulse and pressed the center. Joe finally woke up, but he firmly refused medical intervention. So the 2 girls hurriedly cooked a pot of greens. Let him recover his health. In the first team, killed without the will to hunt for nothing. So I decided to try fishing in a small stream. But the winter river's water was freezing cold. So he's going to build a beaver-like dam to catch fish to stop the fish. They made Lakey in the car from the dam in the river. It makes it easier to catch fish. However, this brings many risks. Because working on the ice is so easy to fall over. Triumphed over reason. Kill. Collect a lot of tree branches and put them in the riverbed and reinforce them with stones. A few hours later, the first group checked in and rejoiced. Some of the fish were caught, but they're still hiding under the ice. It takes more work to catch it. They keep folding tree branches to raise the water level. The fish must rise to the surface to breathe until the 5th day of the contest. The cheese was so warm in the blanket that I didn't want to get up. A moose that broke her beautiful dream. Hear the noise. The group immediately woke up. Today Ross but the deer ran away and quickly found a beaver that Jeremy said he didn't choose the bow and arrow but decided to make a trap to catch. You've done a simple trap. However, the effect is not clear because beavers are quite large. Rose suddenly felt a sharp pain in her back. After 94 minutes in the cold, you have to go back to the shelter and expressed their intention to retreat to their teammates. Rose's decision shocked the group, but they can't force you to continue. If health does not allow, they finally called the program team. In regret, Rose became the first to leave the competition. Team 2 was not good from the beginning. Always behind other teams. It's too late for someone to leave. Thursday night, the cold wind blew harder. It makes things more difficult. Who do you think will be the next to leave the competition? This is the culmination of the Wilderness Challenge, where each contestant brings only one item. It's divided into 4 groups. Drop into the Rocky Mountains. In the middle of a cold winter with a temperature of -9
They don't
degrees
have warm
Celsius.
enough clothes.
But the AI that stays will eventually
By the
get
5th day,
$500,000.
Team 2 was
Losing
down
a
to
team,
Cheese and
their
Jeremy.
shelter became colder. Force 2 people to hug
Other
each other
teams
to
are
warm
no
up.
better.
But the butt team is very comfortable because there were 2 girls
On
warming
Friday,
up the bed.
Joe
was sick and
It was
dehydrated,
temporarily
so
taken
taken over
over
by 2 girls. They found lion footprints and animal bones, but there's nothing left to take advantage of. While Team 4 improved the shelter, and we're going to focus on finding food. During the interview, Jeremy spotted a rabbit, but it ran away. He decided to set traps along the rabbit track. Your traps are like rings
that
of
we
steel
used to
use as children. The result is waiting for luck. Team 1 made a dam on Thursday, but so far there's been no results. The wound on Jack's toe is infected. I was supposed to check the dam myself. As we approach, I saw some fish, but the water wasn't deep enough. They decided to keep putting stones in the water. Because of the speed of dissipation, water heats 24 times faster than air. Every time they dive into the water, before going into the water, they only have 3 minutes to operate. They lit a big fire in Venice to keep warm, and return from time to time to restore body temperature. Team 2 now has only Cheese and
So
Jeremy
the quest
hunting.
for
food fell into Jeremy's hands. Before leaving, Ross set a trap to catch beavers,
According
and
to
Jeremy
the
brought
instrument,
go to check. Although the trap has been activated, but beavers aren't trapped, forcing Jeremy to expand his search. I quickly caught a bird. Unfortunately, your arrow missed. Try to shoot a few more. You still don't succeed. And as a result, Jeremy lost his chance. However, I found traces of a moose. If you catch this, I can help you win a $500,000 prize. Full of excitement, Emmy track and quickly
But the
detect
deer
targets.
caught you
and ran away. Return to Team Ba after
Joe
a
decided
break to split the team into 2 groups. He kept hunting and Gabby and Joe went fishing. They made a hole in the ice. Drop the bait and wait patiently. I found traces of a prey, but missed to let the duck fly away. Meanwhile, Gabby and Joe are lucky to have a fish bite. Gabby was so excited that she jumped into the water. The fish fell off the hook, leaving her soaking wet with nothing in her hands. Team 4 after Jeremy checked the trap. I talked to Vince about the plan. Building a dam to stop the flow of water. Using tree branches and stones to make
Sarah
makeshift
is also
bridges.
busy
Preparing
At
ingredients
PM.
to make fish traps. Jeremy went to check the trap. Detect a trap broken by an animal. Sarah suggests that the trap ring should be made smaller. But Jeremy couldn't listen. He said he saw the rabbit. That and your trap is suitable. That night, a rabbit came to the trap. Smell it through and gently slip through
Until the
without getting
7th
caught.
day of competition.
First Team Dam finally reached the ideal water level. Jack quickly prepared his fishing gear. The wasp found 2 worms in a pile of mud. While Sarah is out hunting alone, they're going to find some cacti or berries. And very quickly they collected 10 full boats. Finish the hook and prepare 3 to 4 at the same time. Just in time for Sarah to return to the cactus. She cut it in half. Take the meat inside. Taste and see the taste also and ETO. This is the first time in 7 days that they've had something to eat. In the afternoon, the 3rd team went
Mainly
out fishing.
because
there was a fish bite yesterday, bringing hope to everyone. This time I dropped the hook in the water and there was movement. But when you pull it up, the fish slips away. Not give up. They kept dropping their prey, and
They've
finally,
pulled a fish to
after
the
half an
shore.
hour. This scene brought the entire team to tears. The team became the first team of the season to catch protein. Quickly handle the fish by the river. and light a fire on the spot. After 6 days of hunger, they finally did. It tastes 50 times better than beef. While the Butt team had fun with the grilled fish, then the Vermicelli team had a problem. The dam they built has reached the ideal water level. But Sarah's gabion isn't finished yet. The black brother felt very upset and scolded Sarah. Sarah explained that the fish basket needs to be intricately made. Otherwise the fish will escape. Meanwhile, and the effort will be wasted. Spotted a fish in the small stream near the shelter. Jeremy and Kais, but before they could catch anything, they noticed a storm are pulling to be forced back into hiding. When they returned, they were stunned that no one was left to hold the fire. And the fire went out. Kais hurried to start the fire again. I was lucky to make it before the storm came. The Butt team had just finished eating the fish quit and fishing and went to collect because without wood, they could freeze to death. Team 1 is also actively preparing for the blizzard and reinforced the shelter. Saturday night was colder than ever. Even when hugging each other to warm up, they still don't have enough heat, and there's hail in the middle of the night. The next few days the weather got worse. It looks like Team 2 will completely retreat. This is a real challenge. It's for real men. When each person carries only one item, they're randomly divided into groups and released into the mountains. It's cold in the middle of winter without food and water. They don't even have full clothes. AI will finally win the 500,000 prize. Saturday night, a snowstorm conditions are already harsh. It's getting worse. On the 8th day, no team was comfortable, mainly because the weather is so cold. Even though they hugged each other warm, even the but iron still shivering by the fire freezes enough to see the temperature so low. Team 2 is the worst performing only group of 2. Their shelters don't even have decent doors. The snow winds through the cracks. The wood to the inside was also covered in snow. So, the main goal of day 8 is to close the gap. This after waking up. They both quickly collected 10 materials. But after a while, my hands and feet froze. Jeremy joked that his whole body was freezing. But to save $500,000 and live more comfortably in the coming days, they have to try to endure. To the 9th day, Jack's toe condition seems to be getting better. At least there's no bleeding. In the cold weather, the wound is not numb. It's a miracle. Get up early and get water. I heard the squirrels cry across the river. I decided to cross the river hunting. I wanted to make a fish trap at the dam. 2 men looking for food. Sarah is not free. She found wild rabbit dung in the forest, so I decided to set a trap nearby. Your trap is a circle. Tie ropes at all exits. But there's no bait in the trap. It's not clear if the wild rabbit got in. On the afternoon of the 9th day, medical team to check the health of the teams. The weather was very cold last night, so maybe they're afraid that somebody going to be in danger. The medical team mainly checks the heart rate and body temperature. When the temperature is very low, blood vessels constrict and heart rate is prone to hypertension. If your recent heart rate exceeds 100, this is considered potentially dangerous. In which the previous sick player was rate fluctuation 116,130. And Sarah's heart rate is also high. The medical team reminded her to drink enough water. If the situation worsens, they're going to have to take you out of the competition. Health screening has put a lot of pressure on teams, especially Jeremy. The team lost a member. There was no food for 9 days. After inspection, I quickly went to check the net, but still nothing. On the way home, I have a burning bladder and a series of problems that made Jeremy feel 7. When returning to the shelter, he found warmth in the blanket. Tisha worry for Jeremy. But you know if you lose one more of his team, can't survive alone and dream of
will vanish in the
$500,000.
meantime.
The team determined to change the situation and set goals
To hunt
the rabbit. They met, but they didn't succeed. Take care of Sarah. The team gave her the task of continuing
2 guys are
to
out
knit
looking
the
for
fish food. Even though we can't find food. But Jack had discovered a plant. Can dilate blood
Very
vessels
suitable
and
for
reduce
Sarah's
heart
rate.
condition. I quickly collected 10 and brought it back to you.
So good
effect that Sarah felt more comfortable right away. In another development, Jack decides to explore a new area to find food. He discovered new footprints near the stream. Get the leaves ready. The footprint is getting denser. Climb to the top of the mountain for a better view. Halfway through, he found the
grass
body
is
of a
still
wolf. Warm. Maybe he was injured and died of the cold. Jack is very excited to find such a large amount of food in the environment. Harsh when you return to the shelter. I was so shocked I couldn't say a word. He was endlessly happy. Sarah made a fire and cooked it and ate it. This is definitely the best party of the season. You guys eat one. To the point where grease fills the mouth. Meanwhile, the 2 men in the second
Jeremy
team
rested
seem
all
miserable,
day, still no better.
and the cheese has to go alone to check the
Just
trap.
like
last time. The trap has been
But
activated,
on the way back,
but there is no prey. She discovered an area full of incense. This plant has roots that contain a lot of starch. Taste like potatoes. Each root contains about 80 cal. However, when the cheese is dug, the ground is too hard from freezing. I couldn't get any
The
trees all
darkness
day.
quickly enveloped.
Team 1 after eating barbecue. In the afternoon, cook another pot. They have a warm shelter. The fire burned brightly and food was enough for many days. Just don't waste the $500,000 reward. They even had a dinner party. Broadcast between Wild. It makes others jealous. The contest is on its 10th day. Medical team to the butt team to check on Chojo. Even though I've drunk a lot of hot water in the last few days, remained at 136. The doctor reminded him to monitor his health closely. If the heart rate is still high, you will be forced to withdraw from the competition. After 2 days of rest, Jeremy's situation has improved
9
days
a lot.
without food worried both of them. When Cheese talked about seeing your
Jeremy
cedar
thought of a
yesterday,
way.
2 people arrive at the spot where the tree is found. Jeremy started a fire burning hay to soften the frozen ground. It's a great idea, but it's actually
After
cruel.
being
Burned, the ground remains as hard as stone. The feeling of having food that can't be eaten. Even more desperate than not finding food. In another place, for beets, Sarah's
West
heart
and
is still
German
high.
go
Out for food. This time they found some cacti. Our men said that a few days ago. I won't even look at the cactus. But now's not the time to be picky. They collected 11 big bags and went back to the shelter. Unlike the first
Then add
team,
boiled water
they don't
to take
eat raw,
advantage.
they cook caramel. Max amount of sugar. The cooked cactus tastes like pumpkin. Sweet, cool, very delicious. Just finished eating in the sun. Medical team
Sarah's
back to check
condition
for
was
team
much
4.
better.
A whole other group of patients. Joe was also checked out today. Your situation is not only not improving, it's worse. Heart rate has risen to 148. Very high risk of heart muscle damage. The medical team decided to pull him out. Joe was sad to hear the news. I don't know, for $500,000. Not wanting to leave the competition, they hugged each other again. Before the final breakup, Team 2 becomes the next team to be eliminated. The 2 men staring at the ants on the ground, swallowing saliva. Suddenly, the black man picked one up and chewed it in his mouth. It's no surprise that it's really hard to swallow. The Wild Snow Challenge has entered its 10th day. Except for a few frosts, eating ants is a reluctant measure. Otherwise winning the $500,000 prize. It's just a dream. But chewing ants always hurt their teeth. If you eat too much, the stomach can't stand it. Compared to that, the life of the first team is
Because
much easier. Even though I
easier.
ate a 20-pound coyote, they haven't eaten their thighs yet. After eating the bones, take a few sips of meat soup. Being like this is not satisfying. They are praised as gods. But even if you live like a fairy, the first team members didn't stop. My step was doing a lobster trap, trying to catch crabs to improve the meal. 2 conical traps are put
Inside
together.
are
The remaining wild dog organs. Then put the basket near the stream. Just waiting. The camera moves back to Team 2. You haven't eaten in 10 days. It makes them extremely weak. Although they also tried to find a way. But burning weeds just help them dig out some roots. Trees without food. 2 people bit their teeth. Tried to find more food by finding a dry twig to use as fishing bait. Not long after, Kais found a large worm. Then they both went to the riverbank and became fishermen. There were only 2 girls left after Team 3 withdrew. They've tried a lot of hunting before, but the most reliable method is still
noon,
fishing. The 2 girls returned to the lake. The weather is pretty good today. The ice on the lake has melted a lot. It wasn't long before they caught a big fish. Hurry to grill fish to eat. A piece of protein in the stomach. At least 50 times caught better the fins than again. Beef. The gods of the 2 girls were also raised. But Gabi said there was something stuck in her teeth. Not brushing my teeth for a long time, so you feel like you have an ulcer. They rushed to the doctor to check. Confirm there are foreign objects in the grill, and you may lose some of your teeth or your jawbone. And because it's close to the brain, it's the doctor advised you to pay close attention. And then the night falls again. Things are not going well on this team. Outside the forest, it looks like there's an animal going back and forth. Through surveillance cameras, they figured it could be a leopard. Most people in the camp did not dare to breathe. They survived until the 11th day, and Jeremy spotted some footprints nearby. These footprints are obviously from last night. It looks like it's from an adult cougar. The footprints are less than 30 meters from the camp. The lion is definitely watching them. Maybe it's because the camp is on fire. Think about this. West used me, because they almost became prey to this animal. German went to check the rabbit trap but nothing. Then they found a bird's nest. A cliff, and West immediately thought of the lion tied in the axe handle. It's not very convenient to catch shrimp here. So Jack decided to make a trap to catch squirrels. He found a suitable stone and cut some branches. Then carve a cut on it. And it's a U-shaped trap. Sarah stayed at the 10-wood camp. However, after a while she started to breathe hard and couldn't breathe. This group does not lack food. The doctor heard from her and detected her heartbeat up to 134. The doctor diagnosed Sarah with pulmonary edema because at high altitude caused the pressure in the blood vessels increases fluid into the lungs. Without timely treatment, it can be fatal. The doctor reminded Sarah, if you have trouble breathing, immediately sit down and rest. And Jeremy, 2 people specialize in fishing. I sat by the stream for 4 hours, but there's no sign of the need, even though they tried their best. Reality. You can only see that the stream here is light and shallow. How can I fish? But actually gave them a surprise. After half an hour, Jeremy actually caught a fish. Even if it's just with your fingers. But at least it's possible to fish here. Not long after they caught another one. They dare not hesitate. Rush back to the shelter. Grilled fish and finally got 2 food. People are happy. This is my first meal in 10 days. They've overcome the hunger that drives others to take off the hat. Sarah had been sitting in a fish tank for 5 days. Even a gentle man like West is frustrated. Fortunately, on the 10th day, the fish tank is finally finished. The group hurriedly brought the barrel to the dam. After just 30 seconds, West's legs were frozen, no longer feeling. The girl couldn't catch anything for a long time. West and German only know how to pay attention to ants. After snacking a little, German went to check the trap again. There has been no harvest for several days. I have no hope. However, I caught a wild rabbit again today. When German brought the rabbit back, the whole camp was bursting with screams of joy. Sarah even shed tears. Use your hand to tear out the rabbit and
After
quickly
10
cook.
days, they finally
the group
got their
regained
meal.
its spirit to
Spend
continue the fight.
$500.
$1.0. Meanwhile, Sarah's condition is getting worse. Just a little activity and you can't breathe. This made Jack very worried. But I don't know what to do. I can only check the trap, hoping to get more food. However, the trap seems to have animals coming, but I'm not smart enough to catch anything. Jack and West adjust the trap. I hurried back to Sarah's care. Camcorder switched to group mounted ball bearing. To fight gingivitis, try to use the bark less chewing, because this bark contains
Can reduce
salicylate
pain
and
and maple
inflammation.
oil.
It's hard to eat, but
Bitter
as they
medicine.
say, in the present circumstances, if you want to give up, you have to bite your teeth. On the night of the 11th day, temperature drops again. And the most miserable person right now is Sarah. She already had signs of pulmonary edema due to the
altitude.
combination of cold weather and Sarah's health. It gets worse when you don't stop coughing. Even though I slept all night, I couldn't feel warm. And finally on the 12th day when it's morning, Sarah is still shaking endlessly. Even sitting in the shelter, she couldn't breathe. Sarah's psyche also began to crumble. No matter how attractive the $500,000
You don't
want to leave your
prizes.
husband and children. Finally, Sarah decided
Right
to
now.
ask the medical team to check again. Her blood oxygen saturation levels dropped to 92%, accompanied by fever high 38
The doctors
degrees. Decided to
degrees.
take her away for safety. When I received this news, Sarah collapsed. See, you're only 2 days away from the prize money, but your body can't stand it. However, the medical team warned her if she continued, it could be life-threatening. Sarah's finally forced to accept this reality. Even though they don't lack food. But their team lost a member because of the decline in the Highlands. The contest is over in 2 days. The team is not the highest rated. Become the only team left. Meanwhile, a terrifying
When a bear
event
attacks
occurs.
a person.
On the 12th night, in the sky near the arena,